Hi, and welcome to this video about this month's full moon in Sagittarius. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kale Miller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas, and I'm in San Francisco, California. In this video, we're going to tell you about this moon, including what it's going to feel like, when it's happening, and the best ways to handle it.
And if you're curious about this moon's impact in your own chart, in a little bit, I'll give you a way to find out more live and in person. This moon is a dynamic balance of harmony and stress. It's a full moon in Sagittarius. So here we see the moon in Sag opposite the Gemini sun, and full moons are always going to place the sun opposite the moon. So there's always going to be a dynamic and a relational quality to them, a bit of oppositionality too, some stress, maybe some argument. The Sag moon has a cheerful feel. It's lighthearted, boisterous, fun-loving. By contrast, the Gemini sun is more analytical and nerdy. So this is like a conversation or maybe an argument between these two. You might even think of this as like the jocks versus the nerds. It's a classic conflict. We know how this story ends, probably with a big fat wedgie, but there's help close at hand, which is to say lots of harmony with Pallas Athene and Mars and Chiron. Maybe the nerd doesn't have to suffer. Maybe the jock doesn't have to come out looking like a sociopathic douchebag. Mars and Pallas Athene are action-oriented, and they both help to mediate the stress of this opposition by forming harmonious connections with both sides. These are the two warriors of the zodiac, and they're aligned right here. Mars is the male warrior, so it has a lot of drive to it. Mars is the campaigner who goes out and takes turf. Pallas Athene, though, is the female warrior. She's more of a defender and a protectress. She's the protectress of the city, and so she's a guardian of civilization, and her symbol is the shield, whereas Mars's is more like the arrow. So that really gives you an idea of the differences between them, but they're aligned and helpful and supportive during this moon. Then we have Chiron here, slowly trekking along Aries over a 7 or 8 year period, a little bit more than halfway through, bringing healing through honesty and self-assertion, which is also here to help to balance the oppositionality here between the sun and the moon. Julia, what do you think about some of these factors here?
Oh, well, first of all, I loved the warrior couple there together in the sign of Leo. It's like a warrior king and queen. And I love how Mars has that point to it, and Pallas is holding the shield. But this full moon, I can't help but notice how active it is, where you have these two very active, one planet, Mars, and asteroid, Pallas, as well as all this fire represented with Sagittarius and Aries. And, Gemini is a very active sign as well. It's air, and air moves very, very quickly. So this is, I love that there's a sense of adventure in this moon. And it's emotional, but it's also very active, and I feel like exploratory as well with that Sagittarius in there. Is there anything else that you're seeing in here, Jamie?
Yeah, I like the idea of exploring. The planets that trine and sextile a full moon can add ease and flow, helping the moon and sun get along and find their way to accord and get into agreement. It's kind of like, if you do have like a school situation and the sun is that nerd and the moon is that jock, then there are a couple of other characters who are like, nerd, I get you, jock, I get you, and I'm just going to help you guys get along and smooth over your differences. So there are definitely ways to bring these two into agreement. Maybe the nerd is up for engineering some insane fun for the jock to get up to hijinks with. This is reminding me of a YouTube channel that my husband and daughter like to watch called How Ridiculous, where these 3 Australian guys set up safe ways to do silly physics experiments, such as what's the longest drop your phone can endure and still work, or what if you set up a giant axe to cut through a massive pile of fire extinguishers? We watched that one the other day. Or what happens when you drop a giant ball made of rubber bands off a very high place? There are a lot of paint explosions along the way. They manage to do crazy things that create big explosions and massive fun, but they're well engineered and done safely. And that seems to me like the kind of fun that this moon can be if the Gemini sun and the Sag moon decide to stop arguing and work together. That Gemini sun could apply the intelligence and the engineering mind of Gemini to, coming up with some crazy, plan. And then the adventuresome Sagittarius moon can, execute and put it into action. And, Sag moon is not very risk averse, let's put it that way. Hey, Jamie here. Did you know we run live workshops monthly where you can get questions answered about your own chart? Join us for a live customized reading of your personal chart. This month's topics are success and your Saturn return, transiting nodes and your destiny, and harvesting opportunities during your Jupiter luck year. And these workshops are available exclusively for our beloved Patreon subscribers. You get the Nodes and Destiny workshop with your Tier 2 subscription, and you get all 3 workshops with your Tier 3 subscription. It's easy to sign up at the Patreon link in the description below. Now let's get back to the video. What do you think, Julia?
Wow. Well, I think you just described the plot of like some goofy 80s movie really perfectly. Like there's so many movies in the 80s that sort of remind me of that. The nerd versus jock thing was such a, 80s script. And I love that too. And I mean, yeah, there's with all of these like elements coming together, the fact that it's under a full moon, and full moons are sort of the closing of a cycle. Something is reaching its, if the new moon is a new beginning, this is the time of harvesting. So it's harvesting something very active in your life, maybe figuring out a camping trip you want to go on, maybe coming, Gemini and Sagittarius are also very signs that have a lot to do with learning. So there could be some, maybe you're finishing up a school project and kind of coming up with a thesis and like bringing all the elements together. But it's very enthusiastic, it's adventurous, it could do with travel and expanding your horizons and just learning more about the world in general, and communication as well could be big under this influence too. And what birthdays are going to feel this, Jamie?
Well, they would definitely be mutable sign birthdays. And it's like a 10-day time span that surrounds the 13-degree spot. So if you are, for example, a Gemini born between May 29th and June 9th, you would feel this moon. If you are a Virgo born between August 31st and September 11th, you would feel this moon. If you are a Sagittarius born between November 30th and December 10th, you would feel this moon. And if you're a Pisces born between February 27th and March 8th, you would feel this moon. And maybe have some adventures.
Well, that's all we have for you today. Now, in this video, we gave you a lot of clues about this moon and how you can handle it for best results. We really do love making these videos for you. And if you love them too, then please do hit that like button.
You can find out so much more about how this moon affects you specifically in our monthly transits workshop for Tier 2 patrons on Patreon. And it's a steal at just $15 a month. Find the link in the description below to get started. Enjoy your June, and until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos.
Bye-bye.